attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. Isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
That's correct. I think that's not actually, you're right, the name raises questions, and certainly there's been some much covered internal politics on that show, but I do think that, there is space. Even that show does have space. When Whoopi said what she said, there was quick pushback from other panelists. They were like, I don't know. Actually, I think that might not be right.
This time, Bill Maher turns his attention toward Whoopi Goldberg with sharp criticism, challenging what he sees as a pattern of remarks that go beyond simple commentary and cross into something more careless. Despite his strong disagreement, Maher makes it clear that his stance isn't about silencing her. In fact, he strongly defends her right to speak freely. He emphasizes that true free speech means allowing space for opinions we may strongly oppose, reinforcing the idea that open dialogue requires tolerance, even in moments of intense disagreement.
Speech. She should be there. She shouldn't get a timeout.
Not every single thing has to be for everybody.
Right.
We can have platforms that have stuff on them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
Bill Maher then broadens the discussion, turning his attention to the role of talk shows in general. He argues that not every program has to appeal to all audiences, and that it's important to have a variety of viewpoints on air, even ones people may find uncomfortable. In that context, he takes a swipe at The View, suggesting that it lives up to its title by focusing more on opinions than facts, while also using the moment to point out what he sees as a larger issue in how public conversations are shaped.
What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? I see we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be, we got to do something about The View. I really believe that. Could you just
it's huge in Iran.
Bill Maher expresses concern about the direction of modern society, suggesting that many people behave as if only one viewpoint is acceptable. He argues that this mindset fuels division and makes meaningful communication more difficult. In his view, disagreements shouldn't be silenced or ignored. Instead, they should be openly discussed, even when they are uncomfortable, as that is the only way to encourage real understanding.
In the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedown plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress, because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America.
The discussion reaches a boiling point when Whoopi Goldberg's controversial statement is brought into focus, in which she suggested that being a black woman in the United States today can feel as difficult as living under strict conditions in countries like Iran. A comparison that sparked widespread backlash and debate. Bill Maher strongly challenges this view, arguing that such comparisons overlook major differences in laws, freedoms, and real-world conditions between the two situations. He insists that while serious issues can exist in multiple places, equating them to directly risks ignoring important context. This clash of perspectives intensifies the conversation, turning it into a deeper debate about fairness, accuracy, and how complex social issues should be discussed in public.
That's a Texas holiday. It began in Texas in Galveston. General Granger came and read the Order Number 3 that finally abolished slavery months after the war because the war took a time to get to Galveston. We celebrated that when I was a kid in Texas, but it becomes national a year or two ago, and Donald Trump doesn't want to celebrate that. To me, it's exactly what you're talking about. So is that 600,000 people died so that we wouldn't enslave people anymore, and the fact that freedom won is a good thing, and we should honor that. That's what Juneteenth's about. And I don't know why President Trump doesn't want to honor that.
So I don't want it. I don't want Black History Month. I don't want all these days for it to make everybody feel special. I'm the 80s baby. Everybody's too sensitive anyway. We're all Americans anyway. This holiday
That's what Morgan Freeman said.
Morgan Freeman, I can't agree more with him.
Yeah, he said that to Mike Wallace. He said, I'm an American. Do you want to be called a Jew American?
Bill Maher emphasizes the stark differences between the situations being compared, pointing out the strict social and legal restrictions faced by women in Iran, including limits on movement, dress, and personal freedom. At the same time, he notes that Black Americans, despite ongoing social challenges, are fully active participants in civic life, voting, holding public office, and helping shape national policies. His argument centers on the importance of acknowledging these key distinctions when discussing sensitive
Juneteenth, too. And non-Italians celebrate Columbus Day. And
I'm all for any holiday.
I'm half Irish. Do I get half the day off on St. Patrick's Day?
But a lot of
I get half drunk?
Everybody gets drunk on St. Patrick's Day. That's a good point.
Did you have a question for the congressman there?
No, are you telling me you're black?
Yes.
You don't see color, right?
We don't see color.
Then Wesley Hunt joins the conversation and brings in a personal perspective, sharing his own journey as a descendant of enslaved people who was elected in a district with a large white population. He uses his experience to highlight what he sees as real progress in America over time, emphasizing that despite the harsh realities of the past, the present day still offers significant opportunity, advancement, and the possibility of success through participation in public life.
Talk about doubling down on what got you f***ed in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Wesley Hunt's story is presented as a contrast to earlier historical injustice, highlighting how much society has changed over time. His experience is used to illustrate progress and expanded opportunity in the present day. Critics of Whoopi Goldberg argue that overlooking this kind of progress can create a distorted view of reality, suggesting that while genuine challenges still exist, exaggerating them may misrepresent the broader picture rather than help solve the issues being discussed.
I got bad news for you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy.
Black History Month and Juneteenth are presented as examples of identity-based cultural observances that highlight specific histories and communities. Bill Maher questions whether setting aside designated times for particular groups helps encourage unity, or whether it can unintentionally create more division. From his perspective, repeatedly emphasizing differences between groups may risk pushing people further apart rather than bringing them together, raising a broader debate about how society balances recognition of history with the goal of shared unity.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch.
Bill Maher continues his critique of what he describes as left-leaning media messaging, suggesting that programs like The View can sometimes work against their own intended goals. He argues that when commentary becomes too extreme, repetitive, or outdated, it risks alienating viewers, even those who might otherwise be sympathetic to the ideas being expressed. In his view, rather than persuading audiences, Overly forceful messaging can have the opposite effect, pushing people away and weakening the overall argument instead of strengthening it.
Whoopi Goldberg, because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid on a regular basis. It just happened to coincide. But can I just say this? I had on last week Ira Glasser, former longtime head of the ACLU, talking about free speech. Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend, we can disagree with each other, should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement. Free speech.
In the closing part, Bill Maher reinforces his central belief in free expression. Even while offering strong criticism of Whoopi Goldberg, he makes it clear that she should not be silenced or removed from her platform. Instead, he argues that the best way to deal with ideas he disagrees with is through open discussion rather than shutting them down. From his perspective, progress comes from questioning and debating viewpoints, not from suppressing them, since ideas can only improve when they are challenged in the open.